Which are the best chips in FPL and which ones are the worst? When is the most popular time to use them and when am I going to use them? We're going to discuss it all in this video, so make sure you like and subscribe and let's get right into it. First, we're going to take a brief look at my team because if we're going to talk about my chip strategy in this video, you may as well know what my team is looking like as well. And I don't plan on making any transfers in game week 27. Obviously, that could change. I'm recording this on the Wednesday evening, so some fixtures are being played and I could get some players injured. As of when I'm recording, Crystal Palace just went 3-2 down to Burnley after going 2-0 up. As someone who nearly brought in Sarah Munoz, I'm very happy about that, so big up Burnley. Looking at my team here, it's important because it's key to understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing on my chip strategy. I have 4 players who are gonna blank in game week 31. Some of you probably have more, so it may be worth looking at what I'm doing compared to what the popular strategy is in FPL. I'm going to pull up the calendar soon and show you what I think the best weeks are to use your chips and what the most popular weeks are, and discuss my thoughts on it. As for my team here, I don't plan on making any transfers. I'm going to talk about it more in the team selection video. I might want to make some more in a week's time because I've got plenty of time to think. Currently, the captain's armband is on Cole Palmer. Now, I'm not 100% set on this. I'm not looked into it by any means. You know, he's done great for me recently. A 17-pointer and a 12-pointer. But he did miss a 0.91 XG chance at the end of the Leeds game. They were drawing 2-2 in the 95th minute. He had an open goal inside the 6-yard box. Fair enough, it was coming at him quite fast. But he skied it. You know, I don't think this is going to mean he gets benched or anything. I don't think it's going to harm his minutes, but it just doesn't reinforce me with confidence. But yeah, that's enough on my team. I don't want to talk about it too much. Like I said, closer to the game week 27 deadline, I'll make a video on my team selection like I always do. This video is about chip strategy, so let's head into the FPL calendar and see what chips you should use and when you should use them. I want to talk about which chips are most important. If you remember in the intro, I'm calling some chips more important for chip strategy than others. I believe there is a primary tier, a secondary tier, and a tertiary tier. Primary being the most important for your chip strategy, and tertiary just being a good bonus. To begin with, I think triple captaincy is in the tertiary tier. It's not important. You can use it in any double game week. It doesn't coexist with other chips. You don't need to use it around them. You just need to use it in a double game week, ideally. And that was either in double game week 26 or, you know, in the future double game week 36. If you don't plan on using chips in other game weeks, like double game week 33, you could use it there. But you'd ideally use other chips in that game week. In general, triple captain is the most irrelevant chip. It's still good, but it's irrelevant in terms of your chip strategy going forward. In the secondary tier, I've got bench boost because it can coexist with wildcard and free hit, but it is very team dependent. You can literally use it when your team has a decent bench, and that's completely fine. Because at the end of the day, if you're using it in a double game week, it's unlikely you're going to get 15 double game week players, and even then, are all of them going to play both games? So it's definitely a good idea in theory, but bench boost can be used on its own, but it also coexists with the others and can have maximized potential when paired with a wildcard, using it just before your wildcard or just after, which is actually the 2 main chip strategies we're going to discuss in this video. In the primary tier, we have wildcard and free hit because when you want to manage the damage from blank game weeks, you can use your free hit or your wildcard. When you want to bring in loads of double game week players, you can use your free hit or your wildcard. If you don't have both of these, you're going to struggle either in the double or the blank, especially big double game week 33 and big blank game week 34. If you have your free hit, you can bring in loads of double game week 33 players, but you may struggle for blank game week 34 because there's going to be a lot of popular players from a lot of popular teams that are in the FA Cup semi-finals. And it's the same vice versa. You could use your free hit in blank game week 34 to get rid of all those players for 1 week that are blanking, but there's no guarantee you'll max out your double game week in game week 33. So if you have at least one of your wildcard or your free hit, the chip strategy is still doable, but it's going to be quite tough. If you don't have either of them, if you're watching this video and you don't have your wildcard or free hit, you may need to triple captain the delete button. And that's not me being mean, I'm just saying you're going to struggle a little bit. It's going to be tough, but I'm here for you. If you need any advice, you know, just ask me in the comments. I'm not exactly an expert, but I've got a decent rank this season. You know, you can see my rank in the top left. It's all right. So I may have some good advice here and there. Anyway, now we've discussed the importance of each chip and how wildcard and free hit are the main 2 you need to actually make these chip strategies work. We can get into it. So the most popular chip strategy here, use the triple captain in game week 26 or game week 36. It doesn't matter which one. I used mine in game week 26. There will probably be another small double game week in game week 36, so you can use it there if you've not used it already, but there's no guarantee you will have any good plays in game week 36. That's why I used it in game week 26. As for the wildcard chip, most people who haven't used it yet are going to use it in game week 32. And why is this? Well, people are most likely going to sell all the players blanking in game week 31 with their free transfers leading up to game week 32. So they can mitigate that game week fine, and they don't need to worry about selling all their good players because they can just wildcard them back in game week 32, and they can prepare for a big double game week 33 bench boost, have 15 double game week plays. It will be a big monster haul for anyone who does this chip strategy, and that's why it's so popular, because it is so simple and easy to do as long as you have the chips left. Because when you get to blank game week 34, where all those players that just had a double game week for you blank, you can use the free hit and you get past it fine. There's no consequences. It is the perfect chip strategy on paper. It's got almost no drawbacks. And you know, you have a small double in game week 36. You can probably use your free transfers to target these players. You don't need a chip that game week, but like I said, you could use your triple captain. So that's the general overview. After the FA Cup quarterfinals have been announced, we will know who blanks in game week 34. Whether they double in game week 33 or double game week 36, we actually don't know yet, but most of them will probably go to game week 33. There is a chance they go to game week 36. Even that Manchester City and Crystal Palace fixture that blanks in game week 31 that's not been rescheduled yet could even go to game week 36 or game week 33. They're almost definitely going to have a double. We just don't know where yet. As for the FA Cup semi-finals, whoever gets to the FA Cup semi-finals and their opponent is going to be blanking in game week 34. That's what's going to cause all these blanks and double game weeks. There may be something in game week 37, but it's not confirmed yet. We have absolutely no idea. As for the rest of these game weeks, they're all normal, so they're pretty easy to manage. Now, I like this chip strategy. It's effective and it's simple. The one drawback I see is that when you use your wildcard in game week 32 to prepare for double game week 33 to bring in all them double game week players, you're also going to have to use those plays for the rest of the season, not just game week 33. And fair enough, after you use your free hit in game week 34, it's only 4 game weeks where you're actually going to need to manage these plays and use them. Some of them may be suboptimal, and your last 4 game weeks might not be amazing. So that's just one thing to think about. That's the one drawback I see on this chip strategy. The chip strategy I want to use, that I'm going to show you guys now, doesn't have that drawback. As you can see here, I'm changing the chips over, and this is what I'm going to be doing for my chip strategy going into the end of the season, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's the best. So, like I said earlier, we will have Arsenal players, we will have City players, some of you may have Crystal Palace players, some of you Daredevils may have some Wolves players, you know, fair play to you. I don't know what you were thinking, but it could work, who knows. I want to use my free hit in game week 31 because I don't want to use my free transfers to sell loads of good FPL assets, especially when there's so many big fixture swings coming up in FPL. I'll talk about it more in my transfer tips video in a few days, but the fixture swings coming to FPL are massive. Liverpool, Brentford and Fulham plays, for example, are going to be amazing to target. Even Arsenal and Man City have good fixture runs. You don't want to sell these players just because they're going to blank in game week 31. So I think the best thing to do is use your free hit chip in game week 31 so you can keep all these players that you really like in your team without wasting any free transfers on getting rid of them, you know, because you can bring in players like Thiago, Danga Uwatara, Harry Wilson, Florian Wirtz, Ekatike. They're all going to get so many points leading up to blank game week 31. You want to focus your free transfers on getting those guys. Like I said, I'll talk about it more in the transfer tips video, but with the fixture swings coming up, you don't want to have to waste your transfers on selling Arsenal and City players when they're perfectly fine where they are. Instead of using your wildcard in game week 32, you're going to use all your free transfers game week 27 onwards, building to those players I just mentioned, plus teams that are going to double in game week 33. Obviously, the FA Cup round of 16 has not even been played yet. How can we even predict who's going to double in game week 33 when it's determined by the FA Cup semi-finals in blank game week 34? We can't predict that. And you're right, we can't. There's 2 ways you can deal with this. Pick players from amazing teams like Arsenal and Man City, teams that are probably going to get to the FA Cup semi-final, players you probably already have and don't want to waste time selling. You could also just save your free transfers. Most of you probably have pretty good teams set up for the long term if you can use your free hit in blank game week 31. If you don't have your free hit, that's where this chip strategy kind of fails because you're going to struggle in blank game week 31, which goes back to me saying, you know, free hit is a primary chip in your chip strategy. It's something you don't want to waste early on. So as I was saying, you use your free transfers, you save them, do whatever you want, have a big double game week 33, have 15 players that play and have a big bench boost. You don't need 15 double game week players. You can just bring in players that have good fixtures. Like I said, Brentford have good fixtures, Man United, Man City, Liverpool. These players with a single game week can sit on your bench and get loads of points. The issue with this is that if I went with the popular chip strategy and used my wildcard in game week 32, the bench boost would be stronger. But I don't want to use my wildcard just to supplement my bench boost. I'd rather use all my free transfers, save them up, bring in players for a big double game week 33. Then when I've had a massive bench boost, I don't need to keep these players. I don't need to keep these suboptimal players that I owned only because they double. because in blank game week 34, I don't use the free hit like in the last chip strategy, I already used it. I'm going to use my wildcard, which may make me seem like a hypocrite. I just said using your wildcard to set you up for double game week 33 can be a hindrance on the rest of the season. Well, what about blank game week 34? I need to bring in players that don't blank. Well, that's only partly true. I need to bring in 11 players, okay? Not all 15, 11. And even then, I could have free transfers saved up at this point to bring in the really good FPL assets that blanked in game week 34 and start them for the final 4 game weeks of the season. While my team going into the last 4 game weeks of the season definitely won't be ideal, it won't be sensational, it will still be strong because I can just target players with really good fixture runs across the last 5 game weeks. I don't need to think long term in 10 weeks time when I'm going to transfer players out. I can look at the fixture runs, target the teams with the best fixtures, target the players with the best underlying data, make sure I have some strong players on my bench who may be blanking in game week 34. That way I'm set up nicely for the short term up until game week 38, and I can also have a better idea of who's doubling in game week 36 over those who wildcarded in game week 32. That's another reason why I think this chip strategy is just better. But the main reason I want to go with this is, like I said, blank game week 31. A lot of people just automatically don't want to use their free hit in game week 31 because they're so scared of game week 34, and I get that. But if you don't use your free hit in game week 31, you're going to have to make suboptimal transfers from now until game week 31, and I don't believe in that. I don't see a point. You can maximize your potential and mitigate all the damage of blank game week 31 with a free hit, and then when you come to blank game week 34, you have a wildcard to set your team up for the rest of the season. To me, it just makes perfect sense. So in conclusion, that is why I think my chip strategy is the best and I'm better than everyone else at FPL. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this. I know it's a bit of a different video, but there is a long break between these game weeks and I don't want to just post nothing. So I'm posting my chip strategy because I think it's quite important. Chip strategy is a big thing in FPL. Leave a comment down below if you need any help with your chip strategy, and I will see you all in the next video.